Hello, and welcome to this conversation with my dear friend and colleague, DJ Burr. I'm Staci Sprout, and I am here with the DJ because we got talking about our thoughts and feelings about pornography. And we decided that we wanted to have a dialogue and put it out there and just see if we could spark conversation and say things that a lot of times people don't say or can't say. So let's get started. How do we feel about the porn wars? How do we feel about pornography? We talked about calling this the porn rant.
We call it whatever we want. It's our show.
That's right. We are making it as we go along.
And, I talk about this mess all the time. So I'm a therapist in Seattle. We practice and work with folks who are struggling with compulsive sexual behavior. I am a sex addict in recovery, long-term, 7 years. So anyone who thinks that I'm not an authority on how porn affects the person, a being, talk to me about that because I know it firsthand.
Me too. Having been addicted to porn and having made horrible decisions that were directly influenced by pornography. And things that, it's not just a suggestion that people shouldn't take seriously, especially if you see it as a kid. You're taking it pretty literally.
Of course.
Yeah.
You don't have anything else to compare it to.
Well, and that's how your brain functions. I
Right.
mean, the conceptual brain is still forming, and especially kids, a lot of times when kids are seeing porn these days, I did a study of helping professionals who are seeing porn, and the youngest age was 4. That was before the internet.
That makes my skin crawl.
I know. It's horrible. Ugh.
I was exposed early.
How
like
early?
super early. I think like elementary.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being exposed to it on, like my stepfather had like porn videos, and me and some cousins, we found it and put it in, and we're watching it, and this just came up in my own therapy work. I remember being shamed because I acknowledged that the male was attractive. And I was like in elementary, right? And I remember the look that I got, and it was just like cut deep. Like, I was not supposed to talk about that.
Isn't that amazing how fast that shaming can happen
Of
just
course.
with one look?
One look had me into this whole denial state about my sexuality and what was desirable. One look, that's all it took.
Yeah.
And it, of course, I've been in therapy like forever, and it's now coming up.
Well, those subtle woundings, and granted, the porn was a catalyst for, sounds like the kids you were watching it with, their judgments.
Yeah, it was my stepdad's judgment.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, oh shit, right? So I got exposed to pornography, and my stepdad was there. Right. My mom didn't like to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sure she didn't. So that's, for me, I feel sad. It brings out this protective thing, like, it's hard enough for kids to, kids are curious, right? We're little. If we see something that has sex on it, we're like, what's that? That's natural and normal. So it's not a matter of not being curious, and it's not a matter of not being however you are sexually. It's a matter of how do we nurture that in kids and protect them? And what is the role of pornography on that? Or its opposite?
At that age, I was already exploring. I didn't need help.
Yeah.
I didn't need help. I didn't need to have that access to that pornography. Yes, it gave me an idea of what I might find attractive, as I was saying about the man in the video. But I was already sexually active from a very young age, and I had no guidance or support. And I think it's the parents' responsibility to be checking in with their kids, right? Whether it's magazines, it's videos, it's online streaming, whatever it is, I think the parents have to take responsibility. That is our jobs. And I can say that because I'm a parent.
But I don't think the parents know. I don't think
that
they
is
know
true.
What kids
they
can
don't
get
know,
their hands
but
on
they
today.
need to know.
Yeah.
They need to educate themselves. They need to watch this video.
That's right. Okay, so this video, it says for parents and also for anybody who is curious about porn, who has an opinion about porn, which I think is pretty much everybody. I think most people are not neutral when it comes to porn.
If you're neutral, you're not awake.
I love how DJ just says things. I kind of
Yes.
tiptoe sometimes. He's
And
like, whoa.
I just want to say, like, I want to put this out there. You know, we've done a video before, and we got like lots of views, and we got some feedback. And the feedback from my view of it was that a white woman interviewing a black man shouldn't have happened. Because you have inherently more power than I do,
White
right?
privilege
White
and
privilege,
supremacy.
right? And I just want to say, I signed up. I wanted to do the video, right? I'm vulnerable. She's vulnerable. Get over it. It was not a thing, right? It was like the best thing that we could have done.
I love doing it.
I know, and people are, I get the whole privilege thing. I will call you out on your privilege. I did so on Twitter recently. But it's not a thing if two people come together and say, this is the thing we want to do.
Yeah, and we're friends.
And we're friends.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that she has more privilege than I do.
In the white supremacist culture.
Absolutely. That's not her fault, right? But you're creating a space, right, because we're in your studio. But shit, I can have a studio too. If I wanted.
Yeah, the last time I brought my studio to your office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk about privilege. I don't know. But
I appreciate you saying that, just getting it out there.
Because this is not where it's coming from. It's not about a privilege thing. What we're talking about today is about human beings being like degraded and demoralized. And if you are a participant in pornography, in my opinion, and you don't think that you're being degraded, you probably are.
That is a real concern I have about porn performers and how they're treated, and the shock and trauma that can befall them. So we talked about kids. We're talking about who creates the porn.
Yeah.
What are they doing? I've certainly taken criticism for my views. If I say I'm anti-pornography, that means I'm anti-sex. It means I'm trying to shut down women's healthy sexuality and sexual expression, and just joining in a long line of misogynistic, sexually oppressive people.
Right.
And that is not my intent. I think that women are very sexually oppressed by pornography in today's culture. I absolutely have been. And it's what I call sexual liberation gaslighting, where you're telling girls and even men and all genders, or all people, pornography tells all people that, you should consume it, and you're cool if you do, or you can, it's this new view of like everybody does it, and there's no one who doesn't, and it's how you can be liberated. I don't either. I do not use porn deliberately.
No,
yes,
absolutely
and
not.
that's
cool.
Okay.
Like, it's absolutely cool.
Yeah, it doesn't make us square, or that we have horrible sex lives, or that we want to crush everyone else's sexuality, or that we're religiously motivated, which is fine if people are religiously motivated. Like,
I had a horrible sex life while I was watching porn.
Because of porn.
I
know.
Porn.
Nobody says that. Like,
oh my God. I'm saying it.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I was always comparing myself to myself to the screen, my partner to the screen, right? Those are actors. They're getting paid, maybe not a lot. I don't know those folks' histories and such, but they were better than us.
Yeah.
Right? And so I was trying to match. And that took up so much time to try to emulate what I was seeing. And even if I was successful in emulating what I was seeing, emotionally, it was bankrupt.
Yeah, see, I love you saying that as a person, because I can connect to a woman looking at other women, thinking that's how I had to sound and that's how I had to perform, but also as a gay man, because I feel that there's so much pressure on gay men that in the culture, everyone uses porn, you have to use porn. And I mean, I went to a gay nightclub to dance, and there's like pornographic stuff playing on all the videos. Like, it's just like, this is
bugs the hell out of me. I don't go to functions like that anymore, being in recovery and such, because that's triggering for me.
Yeah, I understand. I couldn't hang there very long before just starting to feel crowded. For me, it's a form of covert sexual abuse.
Yes.
Like, I don't know those people. I don't know if they're trafficked, what their circumstances are. I don't want to look at that, but if it's like kind of blasted in my space, so I don't go back. That's a choice. But for a lot of men, they're trying to meet other men. They go to dance clubs and boom.
It's liberating. Oh, we get to have a space where we can put whatever we want on the damn TV screen.
Well, I can understand that feeling at first, but the problem is that there's a cumulative effect too. I think, looking at porn one time is one thing, but then you look again, and then you look again, and then you have this other search, and that kind of desensitization that really fosters the tolerance and the addictive quality of it. It's just,
It's exhausting. That's exactly what it is. It's exhausting. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, our culture is just inundated with pornographic images 24/7.
Yeah.
And it makes me sick. It really does. You know, I'm not anti-sex. I like sex, love sex.
I love sex too.
Yeah, everyone
really
should
wonderful.
have sex. I tell my clients, this is not about you not having sex. This is about you being intimate in a way that is helpful, not harmful, a way that is loving and supportive, fun and free. And pornography doesn't offer that, in my opinion. I mean, it just doesn't. It's like it's a disease, in my opinion, right? You know, it contributes to health crises for folks. You know, in my role as a therapist, I have seen people's lives absolutely bankrupt.
Yeah, and
from pornography and
relationships just
what relationships?
Eroded.
They don't have them.
Crushed. The betrayal piece. Even people who are saying, "Hey, it's okay for us." It's a certain barrier to intimacy much of the time. So, you know, what I would say is, some people say, "Well, I'm asexual. I choose not to be sexual." That's one thing to make a choice.
Sure.
But we're not trying to oppress people's sexuality by saying pornography is oppressive.
Right.
And, you know, maybe it has to do with the definition, you know, part of how I define pornography. Because when I was in college, I was shown a video of an elder couple, I don't know their ethnicity, but they looked white, but they may have been Jewish, but they were beautiful, and they were having sex. And it was part of Sex 101. Of course, all the students really wanted to take it, you know, and I did too. And they showed us 2 videos, and one was like a classic white couple, you know, having sex. It looked like a porn video. And the other one was this other couple having sex, and they were loving and kind, and you could tell by the way they touched each other, and they laughed. I'm like, that was not pornography. That was art. That was beauty. That was education.
Yeah.
The other one, they're just, you know, it's just absent of love. So to me, that's a big distinction.
Absence of love.
Yeah. Is you're looking at these people, and what are they doing, and how do they feel about each other? And I remember, this one special I saw on pornography, and they were talking to teen girls, and this one young girl she was just crying. She goes, "God, I looked at it, and I thought, what are they doing? They're just like, you know, it's hurting each other."
Right.
And I think that sometimes kids can see that, but a lot of times the arousal kicks in.
Yeah.
So their bodies are going into that, you know, brains to kind of just base level arousal, which is normal.
Right, it's normal, and then
feel
they're
that
concerned
way.
about it.
And then they feel shame.
And they feel shamed. So they start probably concerned, like, what's happening? And then they feel shame, like, I shouldn't be doing this. Something's wrong with me. Right? Nothing's wrong with them.
No, it's normal to be aroused by porn. If I were looking at porn right now, I would mostly be aroused by it.
Yeah,
I have a lot of my neocortex would engage and be like, who is that? How did they get there? Were they trafficked? Like, are they loved in their life? Like,
Right.
I have grown that awareness of all these years of sexual recovery. But when I first saw it, it's just like, there's no, you know, my lid was flipped, like there's no thinking.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, arousal. I want more. You know, it's just so compelling.
These are real people. That's
Yeah.
what I thought. I was 15 years old when I was exposed, you know, to online pornography. So 15 years old, doing a research paper for an English class. And it was about gay. It was about gay hate crimes. And so I'm typing in, you know, gay and hate and crime and blah, blah, blah. Pornography shows up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, pornography shows up. And my 15-year-old brain, you know, was already, you know, corrupted.
Because
of my family of origin, you know, abuse, abandonment, neglect.
You were already
alcoholism.
traumatized.
I was already traumatized, and so here's something new and exciting. Click, 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 click. I didn't know shit about pop-up blockers and all that stuff. So of course, all that stuff came up later when my family was on the computer, right?
So you were caught.
Right. But I did something even crazier. Like when I was doing this research paper, I found all these photos. I printed them out.
Okay. You're creating your stash?
I got a stash.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's
I
like
printed
I
them
want.
out and put them in a school folder and took them home. You know, I was at another relative's house who had internet because, you know, back in the day, not everybody had internet. So I put them in a folder and took them home. And then that person, who's my grandfather, found the pop-up ads would come up, and they called and said, hey, we need to talk to you. And then I was like, oh shit, it's about to hit the fan.
It's amazing they wanted to talk about it.
Well, sure, but I got in front of it and said, I'm gay, you know, this is who I am, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day I went to school and came home, and like I found those photos all over my room.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What had happened?
Well, my grandmother had found them and put them all out in the room and said they were trash, and that I was going to get this shit out of her house, and I had to like put it all in trash bags and put it out, and it was like crippling.
So then you're feeling like you're trash,
right?
Right? You're totally
right.
ashamed.
Oh, this is because I'm gay, right? So I was equating those images with my sexuality.
You had a young literal brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And then all that shit left me vulnerable. That was vulnerability, right? That left me vulnerable to being molested.
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah,
that was such a missed opportunity to affirm your sexuality and educate and so because you probably never want to talk to them again.
Hell no. So I talked to the strange guy across the street who, you know, groomed me for a sexual relationship.
Yeah, see that.
And didn't know any difference, right?
Is so effed up.
Yeah. So that's just one example of how crazy shit can go when a child is not informed about the dangers of pornography. Yeah. I had like no defenses, right? I thought, oh, this is normal. And of course, in those images, there were older men with younger boys, right?
So it normalized
it, right? Oh, I get to have a relationship. I thought I was having a relationship, right? I thought those people in the images were having a relationship.
Yeah, so it teaches you, this is what sex is.
This is what sex is.
So you had the oppressive family.
Yep.
So they totally missed an opportunity to prevent it by talking to you in advance, giving you healthy sex ed. And then when you did do the natural, normal thing, which is you get your hands on it, and you're like, whoa, I want to collect this. What is this? And because that's your job, is to figure out sexuality, right, as an adolescent. And then they totally oppress and shame you. That we're not about trying to oppress and shame people by saying that we don't like pornography. We want to see them educated.
Right.
Like Gail Dine's Culture Reframed and other Liz Walker, you know, Porn's Not for Kids. It's like, let's educate kids to prevent this. And then if they do find it, let's, in a non-shaming way, let's talk with them about, hey, you know, it's natural to be aroused by this. It's natural to be curious about this. You know, I dropped the ball. I should have taught you about this ahead of time.
Right.
And I didn't. That's on me. I was supposed to keep you protected and safe. Yeah, you're going to see pornography. I mean, that's the other thing. I want to say, like, yeah, you're going to see it. It's everywhere. This is going to come into your life. So it's not a matter of if. At least it's the culture as it is now. Yeah. And how are you going to deal with it who do you want to be as a person? Like,
right.
What is it, you know, so we're trying to engage kids' minds so they can make choices, but it's really hard for kids to choose when something blasts them and is so hyper-stimulating.
Absolutely.
It's like, but, of course.
You know, for me, I'm going to treat the the conversation about pornography the same way I'm going to treat the conversation about cigarettes with my children.
Okay.
Yes. It's there. It's available. It will kill you.
Yeah. Well, we see it.
That's just where I'm from. That's just where I'm coming from.
Killing families.
It kills love. It almost took my life, right? Because I just went down into like the deepest spiral possible.
Oh God. So I want to share with you because I relate to that as well. So I saw porn, and I had this kind of dual culture of this religious upbringing that's like, don't do that, and then seeing the pornography, and I'm like, I want that. So the only road to sexuality that I saw was porn. It was either porn or nothing.
Right.
So I'm like, well, that's what sex is. Again, the literal brain. I was sneaking up to watch a cable porn channel when I was 10 years old, and the whole family's asleep.
Yeah.
So then, you know, my parents didn't get it. They didn't understand. And so then later in life, I tried to act like a porn star. I want to be sexy. I'll be a porn star. I'm going to have sex. I need to make those sounds.
Yep.
I had no idea about self-pleasuring. No idea how to do that. I was just a performer.
Right.
And that's all I had until I was 18 years old.
Oh, man.
So I had 8 years of watching porn, and that was my sex ed. And I had no idea how to truly pleasure myself. Like, that's total ignorance.
Yeah.
Like ignorance around my own sexuality. And granted, yeah, it's a generational thing. Like people in my family, they didn't get the education. We still need it.
Yeah.
But to act that way and not realize, like, not be able to think about it. And then later I did things that were intrusive, you know, because porn talks about, that's great. That's great. You can just do that and that's fine. And it's really fun. Affairs, they're fun.
Right.
Cheating, that's so sexy.
Everyone's having fun.
Yeah. And you know, like I used to watch these porn stars compete in these like athletic events. God. You know, and I'm like, oh, they're so athletic, they're so cool, and they'd be talking about these porn related. Like I was 10 years old, I already knew what DP was.
Oh, wow.
So a kid shouldn't know what that is. Don't look it up if you don't know. But it's double penetration. Yeah. I was 10 years old.
Should not. Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I think about that? I mean, okay, yeah, sex ed, that's fine, but it was so early and without any context, and it's so focused on the physicality, no mention of other ideals like connection, love.
It's about getting off. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I came to understand was, this is about getting off. This isn't about love. It's about a relationship.
And it gets old.
It absolutely gets old.
Yeah.
But then I started having relationships that I was seeing on the pornography, right? The same kind of relationship. It's just about sex. It's just about getting off, right? But deep inside, wanting and needing that love and that connection. And when I wasn't receiving it, being depressed and suicidal and, you know, drinking and, you know, all the things, right?
That's right. Me too. I couldn't do sex without alcohol. I remember the first time I thought I was going to have sex with a boyfriend. I don't know how I got a hold of it, but I got a hold of this, like a huge fifth of alcohol, and I just drank it straight from the bottle. Whoa. Just before my date. Because I didn't know how to handle it. I hadn't developed the emotional kind of depth. I didn't know how to say yes or no. I was terrified. Yeah, and I'd been on some level, the arousal that I've been looking at porn for 8 years on and on, whenever I get my hands on it in whatever forms, it kind of covered up my fear.
Yeah.
You know, because there was so much physical sensation, but I didn't understand. Like, it's actually, those images are often very scary. You know,
very scary. Look, I covered up my fears with alcohol, more pornography, desensitized various ways, compulsive sex, masturbation, food. You know, that's a thing.
Compulsive eating,
I mean, spending. Pick something, you know, and that's my thing.
I know. Whatever would try to make the bad feelings go away, make good feelings come, make me not so sensitive or scared.
I'm not saying that. I came into the porn viewing already fucked up.
You mean already abused?
Already abused and already fucked up.
Yeah,
right?
I get it.
Right,
I get what you mean.
Porn made it worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that just escalated. Like, I didn't know there were levels to despair. Because I was in it.
Yeah.
So many deep levels, right? And it's only been 7 years since I haven't been engaging in compulsive sexual behavior, and that shit still is very hard and challenging. Yeah. You know, we are in a position where we get to sit with people who are struggling from various sexual behaviors that they have defined as compulsive because it's causing problems in their lives, right? And yes, some of that might end up being labeled as addictive. But we get to also see the emotional toll that it's taking on people, people feeling like they have no value, people losing their lives, their jobs, time and money. And it's really difficult to sit in front of someone who is telling your story day in and day out.
Yeah, but it's also sobering.
It is sobering. It is absolutely sobering.
I don't want to go back there.
I don't want to go back there.
Or go to that place.
And then I feel really impassioned to say to these people, pornography is not your friend. This behavior that you're engaging in is only going to cause more problems, right? Let's work out a plan for you to address this. And everyone has a different plan, right? Yeah. It doesn't always involve 12-step. It doesn't always involve inpatient. I kind of go wherever the client wants to go. I tell them my thoughts and feelings about what I think would be helpful. They maybe will try it, but, you know, it's up to them to decide what they want to do to address it. But what pisses me off the most is when I'm trying to help people help themselves, and someone off to the sidelines is telling me that I'm wrong or I'm bad because I want to ban porn or because I'm anti-porn. Of course I'm fucking anti-porn. I can't, like, not be.
Well, you see, and you've experienced the devastation of yourself and so many people. It informs you, and that's the same with me. And I recently posted an article on my website. I'm an anti-porn therapist, and here's why. And what's fascinating to me is the criticism that I took from some other therapists. And I think, I feel like people, if I say, you know what, I'm against porn. I think porn on the majority hurts people. Do I want to go out and ban porn today? What does that even mean?
Right.
I don't know. I look to others though who are exploring that to say, how do we protect our children? That's what I want to do. I want to protect children.
Right.
That's where I get passionate. And I want to protect women too. I mean, I was talking about this research study called Scared During Sex. And these young women who are being strangled just randomly in the middle of sex because the people they're having sex with saw it on porn, and no one realizes that's actually can be a violent sexual assault if you don't talk about it and make agreements and have safe words and all of that.
People have died.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I've started. So being anti-porn, the criticism I'm taking is that I want to shut down sex, that I'm shaming anyone who's ever looked at porn or anyone who's ever been aroused by porn. I'm shaming everyone who uses porn. It's like, you know what? I feel like the paradigm that makes sense to me is trying to break free from like a psychic sexual enslavement. That's what I want to see people free from. I mean, if people are not, if they're using it and they're fine, then fine. They can live their life. But to me, it's pervasive. It's everywhere. Kids are exposed. Women are being hurt. Men are being hurt.
Yes. People are being hurt.
Yeah.
And I just want to make that clear. People.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't matter your gender. Doesn't matter your race. Doesn't matter your socioeconomic status. People are being hurt.
And I even think back to your grandmother.
Yeah.
Right? So she comes home, she finds these pictures.
Yeah.
She's not educated about pornography or what. So she just freaks out.
Of course.
And then she goes into this oppressive and shaming kind of reaction. Yeah, I wish she had not done that. That was horribly traumatic for you.
Sure.
And nobody ever educated her.
Right. I didn't understand it then that she wasn't being mean, right, to me, right? Yeah. But as an adult, I look back and I see she was probably terrified.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because not only had I printed out pictures, but I had given out our address. So pictures were mailed to my house.
Oh. See, this is what kids don't realize.
I'd be fucking terrified.
Oh my God.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The predatory nature of the online kind of trolling world is so dangerous for kids. And yeah, so that adds a level of complexity.
Sure. I just thought she was being mean and hateful and spiteful.
Well, that's how you would have experienced her.
Yeah. And I had to move.
Yeah.
I got kicked out.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I got kicked out.
So porn made you homeless.
Yes.
Is basically the way of saying it.
That is absolutely the truth.
Yeah.
I got kicked out and had to find a new place to live.
Yeah.
And at the end of my sophomore year in high school, I had to change jobs. I had to change schools. Yeah. I lost friends.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I wasn't able to get a lot of those friends back. I have one friend that I've been able to really to keep from all that chaos, but I didn't have numbers. We weren't on Facebook and all those things. It wasn't even out then.
Yeah, see?
Right?
So was she mostly going off because she was homophobic?
That's a whole nother podcast episode because in my community, in the African American community, in my experience, and this is not everyone's experience, being gay is just not okay, right? And and that was difficult because I took it personal. I'm not good enough. I'm a piece of shit. And you don't love me. And I had to leave. And because I was homeless and staying in a guest room at another relative's house and needing love and affection, this predator came on board and groomed me.
Yeah, so you were vulnerable. And that's how
vulnerable.
predators, they pick up on the vulnerable kids. All right.
Oh,
well,
the alarm.
So that's the alarm. So we're at about a half hour, which is what I was hoping for this conversation.
I could
feel
talk all day about this.
I could
oh my
too.
God.
I feel like we're just getting started. So let's wrap up this video. We can do another one, but let's wrap this up with, what should we wrap up with?
Well, I have my own wrap up. So my wrap up is this. If you disagree with me, fine, disagree with me. Do not come after me. Do not send me hate mail. Do not stalk me. Do not threaten my license. Do not bash me on the internet or threaten my friends. That's not going to solve anything. But if you want to have a conversation with me and tell me about what's going on for you and want me to hear your perspective, send me an email. thepornwars@gmail.com.
Is that your email?
I just set it up.
Oh my God, that's so cool. You might be busy.
I set it up this morning.
I love it. Okay, so here's my message.
Okay.
Ditto what DJ says, and email him, not me. Yeah, my closing message is I am not trying to crush anyone's healthy, beautiful, awesome sexuality or asexuality, should that be your choice. I think we all need to wake up about the destructive impact of porn on our lives. Literally, I have been in recovery since 2001. I've written, I've studied, I've worked with people as a therapist, and just this conversation is already sparking some more memories of how I've been hurt by porn. And some of the sexual assaults I experienced were probably from porn-influenced boys.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think we need to get this conversation going and continuing and from our hearts. And if you want to give me feedback, this came up on the therapist Facebook group. If you want to give me feedback about what I say about my porn use and how that's influenced my beliefs, then you need to tell me if you're using porn or not.
Ooh.
Before you even open up the conversation, just tell me, are you using porn or not? Because I find that it really influences how people think, is if they're using porn. And their arguments tend to be not from the heart, not respectful. Now that's not, I can't always say because I don't always know. But if you tell me if you're using porn, it will help me to know how I should classify what you say, because maybe you're defending, you know,
themselves.
Well, yeah, and that's fine. Defend yourself. You know, explain, tell me. But the thing I see is so much denial about, and I had it too. I'm like, no, this is great. This is great that I want to do this in public, and you know, blah, blah, blah.
4 hours in.
Yeah, more than that.
Or more than that.
And so anyway, we'll do more shows. We'll keep talking about it, especially if you like this show. If you like this conversation, let us know. And maybe we'll keep going anyway if you don't like it.
Yeah, email me, thepornwars@gmail.com.
All right, I'm Staci Sprout.
I'm DJ Burr.
Signing off. Thank you. Oops.
I feel like we just created a show.
I know we did.